Everybody knows the world ain't right. Down on your knees, get up and fight.
G'day, Rockhound here! In my last video, I gave you my relatively concise review of the finals game on day one of Embark Studios' Closed Alpha. That video was in some ways a chance to capture my immediate overall thoughts about the game and perhaps something to look back on and compare once we've seen the beta build for the game and beyond. Now, a massive amount of feedback was provided by players throughout the playtest. Literally thousands of comments were posted in the finals Discord from players, some of whom played over 60 hours during the playtest, which is absolutely insane. Many overall comments, bugs, weapon balancing comments, and so on were provided. It's really a huge amount of info. To their credit, the Embark Studios team were quick to take the comments on board and even put a small patch out for the game on day 2 of the playtest. This saw the wave respawn timer in the game reduced from 120 seconds to 60, which was one of my main complaints about the game on day 1. That change saw a noticeable increase in the amount of chaotic fighting, a lot more than I actually expected from a change like that. And it actually showed us how changing a single parameter in the game can make a pretty massive difference. I think it was an improvement, but the respawn timer is still something I can imagine the dev team experimenting with between now and the next playtest. Anyhow, I spent much of yesterday just immersing myself in all the Discord comments from those who played the Closed Alpha and also chatting about the game with DeMeister, who I played many rounds of the finals with. Aside from reading many comments about how much people enjoyed the game, I feel that I've now distilled out 3 particular elements in the game that I think Embark can work on to take this game from a really solid alpha to an amazing beta whenever that might get underway. Firstly, let's start with character builds. Unlike most shooters, the finals not only allows you the opportunity to customize your character's style the way you want, but to also choose their physical build, which in turn provides you with build-specific weapons and gadgets as well as a build-specific HP. This choice also gives you unique special abilities to choose from as well. The light build can use a cloaking ability or a grappling hook or a quick dash. The medium build can have recon vision, providing an ability to see players through nearby walls, or a protective dome shield, and the heavy build can charge through walls or slam the ground, damaging nearby objects and enemies. These 3 builds are potentially a great unique feature of the finals, and I agree with many comments in the community that show players think the builds should be more strongly separated and defined than they were in the Closed Alpha. The fact many teams were playing 3 mediums, for instance, say some players didn't feel that they were missing out on anything by not having a light or a heavy build in their team. In my view, players should instead always want every build on their team, or at least feel it's a really tricky decision to leave one out. So I think the builds could be better differentiated by the following. Clearly make heavies a building buster and an area defender. This could be done by buffing building damage from the RPG, and their flamethrower could also set buildings on fire to flush the enemy out and burn buildings down completely over time. Also, I think Embark should consider giving the heavy the goo gun, which is currently a defensive tool run by the medium build, as this would help to cement the heavy's defensive role. They could also increase the heavy's resistance to small arms fire from medium and light builds, but to balance that out, they could make them vulnerable to explosive weapons and LMGs, so if a heavy faces a heavy, they're certainly not going to last too long. Mediums, on the other hand, should become the specialist in direct assault. Taking out the opposition at close quarters, the medium's healing station could be given to the light build, as they can get to you faster to treat you, and then the medium build could also be given offensive gadgets such as flashbangs and other grenades to help their assault role. They would really become the first line of attack on a defended building or area. Lights should be the clear parkour or cash runner, as well as a sniper specialist. They move fast and nimbly, delivering the money to the cash out quickly, and then they can back off to a nearby rooftop and cover the area with a sniper rifle once the other 2 builds have moved into the area and are defending the cash extraction. Embark could consider adding more parkour-esque movements for the light builds, such as wall running, wall jumping, directional control while sliding, and even a little mid-air control as well. These changes to the builds would make them a formidable team when working side by side and would make playing each role very different from the others. It would also make it tricky, though not impossible, if you decide to leave one of the builds out of your team. Secondly, the parkour element of the game, or moving through the map at various levels, is a very strong play point. It's lots of fun to move from ground up to the roofs and through the mid-levels as you cross the map. And this is an aspect of the game that should be made very smooth and natural, especially for those playing the light build. Things that could improve this part of the game would be much smoother vaulting than the alpha had, and I'm actually expecting that from this experienced development team anyway, but that would ensure that there's no delay in being able to jump through windows, for instance. The light build's grappling hook and medium zipline movement could also be sped up a bit, and the range of those could be extended slightly. If a grappling hook or a zipline is close to a window, I'd like to see players be able to just go through the window as the default, and likewise if it's near a roof edge, then have them just climb onto the roof and not fall to the street below like we did kind of see in the alpha. So more often than not, giving the player the benefit of the doubt for slight inaccuracies in aiming their zipline or grappling hook. I mean, they fired it at those spots for an obvious reasons, and being slightly off a window shouldn't interrupt the flow of movement through the map for the player. They also need to have the medium auto-attach to the zip line when they deploy it. If they don't want to use it, they can always choose to disconnect right away, but that should be the alternative option, and auto-connection to the zip line should be the norm. If I deploy a zip line, I always want to use it immediately, and during the playtest I would often deploy it and then actually run past the deployment point, so I couldn't connect to it. And that was really frustrating because I had to run back and then reconnect. I'd also like to see more built-in zip lines for all to use, including vertical ones to go straight up to rooftops, and for the existing elevators on the map to be sped up significantly to allow the heavy build to get to those higher levels reasonably quickly. Providing better access to the top levels of the buildings and their rooftops by adding ladders through skylights and stairs that go from upper levels to the roof would also help to free up this vertical movement. Overall, let's crank up the freeform movement throughout the map. Lastly, destruction. Embark placed a real emphasis on the ability for players to destroy most things on the map in the recent trailer for the finals, and it is a massive potential point of attraction for anyone who's considering playing the game. Being able to level every building that you can see is an unprecedented level of destruction and is something special that Embark have achieved, and I think it should be better shown off. It's also a fun way to stop your opponents in their tracks by blowing up the building from underneath them. At the end of each round in the closed alpha though, it only felt like maybe 5% of the map had been completely destroyed, and I'd like to see that increase to more like a third of the map getting smashed up completely, so it's very clear that Embark have really given us something special when it comes to destruction. Now I think they could make this happen by increasing RPG and other explosive damage to buildings so that they can be destroyed in a few shots from an RPG, for instance. If you hit a roof near a player, have the roof and also the floor below them fall down so that they really feel like they've been knocked out of place. Players don't receive fall damage from building collapses, but the ability to destroy a building they're in and displace them is a huge amount of fun. Also, there's currently a tower crane in the middle of the map, and I'd like to have that made so it can be blown up, making it fall across a large portion of the town, bringing down multiple buildings as it falls. Embark could also add other large objects and towers that can do the same as the crane falling. Overall, I'd just like to see them come up with more ways for us to destroy large portions of the map as we compete for the top place in the finals. Like many people that participated in the finals closed alpha, I have a very long list of things I think Embark could change to make what is already a very fun and solid game even better. There's plenty to do on the weapon balancing front, the scoring system needs refining, and they need to work on teams not losing players in rounds 2 and 3, for instance, amongst many other things. But the character builds, moving across the map, and destruction are my top 3 that I think can help make this game go from good to amazing before the beta comes along. Let me know what you think about these 3 things in the comments below. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Kia kaha, stay strong.